In this particular example, I'm going to illustrate the gradebook setup for a course that has no final exam. In this example, Math 10F, let's say, doesn't have a final. Now, the way the teachers set up the course throughout the year is assignments were worth 15%, mental math was worth 5%, quizzes were worth 15%, and tests were worth 65%. So those are the categories at the end of term 1, that's how the mark was calculated. At the end of term 2, that's how the mark was calculated. And since there's no exam in this particular course, their term 2 mark essentially is their final mark. So here's what it looks like in a grade book. Okay, so I'm going to select Math 10F, and I'm going to select term 1. In term 1, you'll notice I've got it set up for category weights. Assignments 15, mental math 5, quiz 15, tests 65. Now, term 1 is set up that way. It's important to make sure that everything else is set up in the same fashion. So be sure that you check term 2. Term 2, just because you've set term 1 up that way doesn't mean term 2 has inherited the same grade setup. So make sure that that is correct. So in term 2, I see that, yeah, category weights again, assignments are 15, mental math is 5, quizzes are 15, and tests are 65. Now, what about the end of course grade? Well, the way this gradebook is set up is that T1 is just nested into T2, meaning that T1 is just a snapshot in time. In November, that's their grade from September to November, and T2 is their grade from September all the way to the end of January. Now, T2 is their final mark for the course because, of course, in this particular example, there is no exam. But it's important to make sure that the final grade and the grade setup to calculate that final grade is stuck inside Y1. So click the Y1 reporting term and make sure that if your course has no exams, that you have that same breakdown of category weights, assignments at 15, mental math at 5, quizzes at 15, and tests at 65. That needs to be in Y1 as well so the mark gets calculated correctly. You want to make sure that you check all of your terms, otherwise one term could be doing it by category weights, another term could be doing it by total points, and the marks are going to be, there's going to be some discrepancies in your grade book. So, that's what a grade book will look like if there is no exam set up.